Hello, hello there, friends. Holy cow, it's hot day. Uh, if you look on your calendar, it says, holy cow, it's hot. If you live in the southern United States, it is July the 4th. I wish you a happy Independence Day. Remember that independence is not just about the birth of a country. It is about your daily birth. You know, we have to think we've got 24 hours in a day, my friends, and we every morning we have the opportunity to have another birthday, another Independence Day. So just kind of keep that in mind as we are celebrating in a very different way this year. Chris is he's playing a private party tonight, which was awesome. And he said, hey, do you want to go? And it was like we both said, can't leave Mia, because she does not like fireworks, gunfire, nothing loud. She just can't take it. So happy Independence Day, my friends. I've got 6 new creative cluster kits to go in the shop today. So I wanted to kind of show these to you. Of course, I have them all torn apart here so we can look at each one individually. We've got pirates. We've got coffee shop. We've got a cook's life, which I'm really fond of. I'm fond of all of them. People have said, hey, you're going to put those in the store, in the Etsy store, and I'm like, oh my Lord, you wouldn't believe how long it takes to put these things together. So probably not. It is a sweet question to be asked. It always makes me very humble that you guys ask, is this going in the shop? I'm just very grateful to you guys for asking, because a lot of times, that will result in like me actually tailoring something down and making it for the shop. But these are exclusive to Flow Journals. This baby is Farm Life, and I'll show you all of the elements in Farm Life. And we've got Summer Day right here. Just all of the things that you would see, do, be on a summer's day. First kit, let me turn the overhead lights on so now we can kind of use those. I'm so lucky that these are fairly cool lights. I'm not using my big overhead fixture that Chris custom made for me, because that baby is hot. It's got like those Edison light bulbs in it, which works out great in the wintertime, but not in the summertime. So let's take a look at pirates and just kind of go through here and see what we have. Of course, what would a pirate be without a little bit of gold, right? We often associate skulls and crossbones with pirates, so we have a little bit of skull right here, and we'll have skull and crossbones a little later in the show and tell of this kit. We've got a P for pirate. We have a mysterious letter. We only have part of it. Maybe we can read it and ascertain its meaning, and who knows, it might be pointing to some buried treasure somewhere. Wouldn't that be fun? We've got skull and crossbones, art trading coin blank for you to play with, more skulls because they're just fun. To me, sugar skulls are kind of applicable to a lot of applications. Now we start with our fabric. So let's take a look here. We have Captain Jack Sparrow. I know that this started out as this is not from the first Pirates of the Caribbean movies. This is from later movies, and honestly, I'm not familiar with the later movies. We do know this is Captain Jack Sparrow. This is Elizabeth Swann, and this is the Will Turner character, which was, I loved the Will Turner character. And you gotta love Elizabeth Swann, because she actually became she became Queen of the Pirates, in one of the episodes. We've got a bit of an old map for you. This is a map based on the 1830s. A little more map ephemera right here. We've got some photos of pirates. Now look at the way this one's dressed. He looks like maybe Middle Eastern pirate. You know, what would a pirate ship be without a flag? The aforementioned letter, when we found it, it was tied together with this extra special red ribbon. We've got more skulls and crossbones for you. A pirate ship, you can see the flag flying right there. And this is a photo that I clipped from a book. Merfolk often appeared as characters in the funny books of our great-grandparents' day. Here, a shipwrecked sailor laughs in his merman rescuer's face. So I thought that that was a really interesting and historic image. So something fun to play with. Of course, you can do art trading cards with things like this. You can do art trading coins. You can break apart the whole kit and use it for chippy fodder. You can mail it to a friend. You can use it in Happy Mail. Just like the possibilities are endless. And it's really fun to have everything in kit form. So you can take it out, you can play with it quickly, and then you can, of course, you know the way the flow journals are laid out, my friends, you can always make things and then put them in the pockets, right? Next up is coffee shop. And let's take a look at coffee shop and see what is going on. I tried to think of, one of my favorite coffee shops was in Columbia, South Carolina. It was, I don't remember the name of it, but it was really a great little coffee shop. You know, right, this was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, you know, right at the cusp of everybody opening coffee shops. Coffee shops would have music and things like that. I did play at coffee shops when I was a musician. And this coffee shop was right up the street from me. Well, it was run by a guy named Shep, and he was really sweet, and Corey just absolutely adored Shep. And Corey must have been like 8 or 9, something like that. And Corey's brother, Christopher, would often play at the coffee house. And they both came home one night, you know, about midnight, and which was a long time for, you know, an 8-year-old to stay up. And Corey was wound tight as a banjo string, as we would say here in the South. And you know why? Because, in the words of Corey, Shep gave me all his leftover coffee. I was like, oh my gosh. You know, yeah. So my kid had a caffeine buzz like crazy. You know, we think about the things that we do in coffee shops, in coffee houses, and you know, we might be planning. You know, a lot of times you'll go in a coffee house and you'll see people writing in little notebooks, or they may be sketching, or they're reading, or they're studying, things like that. You know, maybe they're planning a trip somewhere. We've got the tables. To me, the tables in a coffee house are always very interesting. The cutlery, the you know, the serving pieces that they use. We've got some stamped images here. It says Coffee and Friends, the perfect blend. We've got coffee beans. We've got a coffee cup. You're the cream in my coffee. I love that one. We've got art trading coin blanks for you to build upon. A little collection of cookies, which I made into an art trading coin blank. A cake, because a lot of times coffee shops will have sweet things. I love the Maisie Dobbs book. Maisie and B.T. Drummond went in a coffee house recently, and Maisie described all of the things that the coffee house had. You know, they have Eccles cakes, they have pralines, they have cakes, they have scones, they have all these things. It's always interesting to me to listen to the descriptions of what you might find in a coffee house. So we've got some art trading card blanks for you to play with. You know, this harkens back to the you know, you won't have the exact imagery in the kits because I make every single kit different, but you'll have something like this. This shows some books, You know, like I said, you'll see people sketching, you might see them working on some art, you might see them writing in notebooks, anything creative. Really is a coffee house is a great place for creativity. We have some donuts. Another thing that fascinates me about coffee houses is the chairs, and a lot of times you'll go in a coffee house and they will have all kinds of different chairs. It's kind of bohemian, you know, kind of like a hodgepodge that is just very different. So I thought the chair imagery went with this. You'll often find a little bouquet of flowers, a little posy on your table. We've got an assortment of coffee cups, tea cups, and coffee mugs right here. And, you know, another selection of some beautiful pastries. A little bit of word cue. We've got shortbread, chocolate hazelnut, vanilla bean, and praline, pine nut, peanut butter, and cherry jam cookies. So there we go. There is our little visit to the coffee shop. This this collection is held together. Of course, I put them in those the plasticine kind of envelopes that I have, but this one is held together with a really sparkly black ribbon that denotes black coffee, which is the way that I like my coffee. I like black coffee. This is a Cook's Life. My goodness, you know, cooks are now, they're rock stars. You know, you think of people like Anthony Bourdain and who's the really Hell's Kitchen guy. His name's going straight out of my head. It's really hot up here. Guy Fieri, you know, all the people on the Food Network. I don't watch the Food Network, but people are rock stars now. Chefs are rock stars. So, you know, we may be thinking about even a culinary adventure for ourselves. A lot of us are in a position where we're going to need to find a different job because we have been downsized or laid off or our hours have been cut. You know, maybe now is the time to explore a culinary adventure for yourself. Maybe now is the time to kind of change gears, go in a different direction. This shows a kitchen, and you've got chefs at work in the kitchen. This says Tuesday. Chefs have to plan ahead, so they have to think about a weekly menu, and, you know, depending on how long they're open, you know, is that a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or is that a lunch and dinner, or maybe some restaurants are just serving dinner. So I think that that is really interesting as well, to think about that and think about your own menu planning and how you're planning menus and what you're doing now. Miss Michelle sent us so I love these cheese labels. They're just so super cool. So, you know, we start out, we might have a cheese course, right? I have never had like a multi-course dinner, so I don't know a lot about it, but I do know that there is a cheese course, and, you know, I'm thinking that that is usually served after dessert in French restaurants. Is that right? I'm not real sure. You might be treating yourself really special, and you may go out and have a fancy cocktail that was designed by a cook somewhere, or by a barmaid or a bar mistress or a mixologist is what those people are called now. We've got forks and spoons and knives right here on this green piece of paper. We've got all kinds of kitchen ephemera here. I love those piece of paper, so cool. Of course, in a fancy restaurant, if you've got a chef cooking for you, you may have a candelabra. You may be eating by candlelight. I dig these illustrations. I love these cookbooks. I think they're like 1940s-ish maybe. This is a lady, and she's serving all kinds of appetizers to her guests. I love the guy over here because he looks like his tongue is kind of sticking out of his mouth. He must be quite hungry for an appetizer. Chefs love mushrooms, so I thought the inclusion of a mushroom card would be a lot of fun. This is a main dish. I think this is escarole and looks like maybe squash with mushrooms cooked in it. This is the recipe for a honey cheese pie. I clipped recipes from the super old recipe books, and you've got one for chocolate custard pie. This is the pie that my grandma used to make. She did not use squares of chocolate, but she used like the cocoa that you can buy in a can, and I've made it several times, and it is delicious. It is absolutely delicious. It's like a Depression era recipe that she has. A little look at a cookbook. This one says Savories. Again, it's, you know, the illustrations are just amazing. And of course, the way that a dinner would be served. You've got your vegetables here, you've got your cheese plate here, you've got your seafood here. It's just a fun look at a chef's life. Chef's life is not easy. You know, it may look glamorous, it may look like it's easy. It is not easy. I will tell you a funny story about a chef that comes to our farm and chooses vegetables, and he came to the berry patch last year. So Joe's out there, like, you know, picking, and it's like he brings this big basket of strawberries to the stand, and Joe has picked green strawberries. I'm like, you know, I don't know what to say. He's a chef, so apparently he's a well-known chef and knows what he's doing, but I'm like, he said, okay. He said, let me tell you what I'm doing. And I was like, okay. He said, I'm pickling green strawberries. He said, it's a thing. I was like, really? He said, yes. He said, pickled green strawberries are a thing this year. So I thought that was really, really interesting. You know, chefs always have to be really, like, on the cutting edge, man. This is Granny's Attic. So let's take a look here. Gotta say a big, big thanks to Linda over in the UK for sending us things that were so applicable to this collection, as well as I think Miss C sent some things in here. Miss Lady Slipper sent some things that are in here. So just a lot of fun. We start out with a card, and it's an actual postcard. I don't see, I think it's January 55 on here. I'm not sure. It's very, very hard to read. But isn't she beautiful? She has that coy look, like she just knows she's so pretty in this photograph. We've got biographies. We've got a bit of French text for you. A bit of Latin text as well. These are pieces from a very vintage collection. I think this one was from 1887. I can just imagine, you know, when I see carbon paper typewriting like this, I always think about the girls who are typists and what a really, you know, that had to be kind of a dull job, but what an amazing job. You know, we think about, you know, things like that are automated now. We don't, you know, there's Xerox, there are copiers, there's email, but, you know, there was a time that correspondence meant that you had a typist and she would type your correspondence for you. I love this because it is it's signatures, and it's signatures from a visitor's register for someone that was in the hospital. And I just really do love handwriting. I think it's kind of like one of those lost art things. This is a little piece that featured the 10 Commandments. This says, honor thy father and thy mother. So I'm going to put that right there. We've got more text for you. This is, I think that might be German. And this is maybe Italian. So a lot of different languages. I did want to pick up on a lot of different languages. This is written in pencil. And I think this was from 1901. It's very interesting. What you can do with things like this is maybe let that be a story starter for you. This is from a vintage ledger. Look at how modeled it is. It's just beautiful. Paper just speaks, doesn't it? This is a notification from a lodge that says, Brother so-and-so on 19, you were suspended from this lodge for non-payment of assessment. Should you die before reinstatement, your certificate would be worthless. Your beneficiary would receive nothing. This is too grave a risk for you to run. Make your payment, be reinstated. Also in Granny's attic, we found remnants of pattern paper, as well as this super cool card that says best wishes and features. This is like very Art Deco-ish, that the metallic kind of coloring going on there, as well as a charm featuring baby booties. So we really dug that. Thought that was really a lot of fun. Again, you won't have these exact things, but you will have things that are similar. All of the kits are different. Next kit is Farm Life. And I kind of got into this because this week we have corn. Now, my farmer, his corn is called Famous Sweet Corn because he is known all over the place for the quality of corn that he grows. It's not really about it being pretty. It's not really about it having curb appeal. It is about the taste, and he's so committed to taste, in our planting of the vegetables that he purchases seed for and then plants the seed. So I just thought it was really, really interesting. So we have a few word cues here. We have organic, we have 2020, we have green summer, we have moss, mist gathers. You got a few little butterflies because those are things that we see in nature and we see in gardens. We see flowers and we see butterflies. This is a wind direction. You can see it right there. It's pointing north, and it's got a big fat sheep on it. And then you've got a selection of all kinds of, clip art that is, here, I'll show it to you, that is applicable to farms. So we've got some trellising going on. We can see someone lifting a dandelion right here. We've got tomatoes, squash, carrots. You can use this to think, and when I was writing posts for the farm the other day, because we do try to create very story focused content for our Facebook page. And I was thinking, one of my earliest memories is of my granddaddy. Now we've got an art trading card blank for you to play with. We've got some washi tape here. You always see a bird in a garden. And then we've got this super interesting piece about how to build a heating element for a farmhouse. I love that book. I just think it's so super cool that it shows how to create a farmstead, a homestead, and this was a book from, I think this is 19 40s-ish. And then I did some stamping. I stamped a tree on here and stamped some flowers so you can color that. Anyway, so I was writing the post the other day. My granddaddy, one of my earliest memories is of being in the garden with my granddaddy and him lifting a potato plant and shaking all the dirt off, and lo and behold, there were potatoes growing on that vine. And I remember that just clear as day. I also remember like sitting at my grandparents' table. My granddaddy would pour his scalding hot coffee into his saucer and drink coffee out of a saucer while I was sitting on his lap. And I always tried to stay super still because I did not see how this was happening. You know, how did he not spill all that coffee all down his overalls? It's crazy. But this may help you think about farm memories. It might also help you think, well, you know, I have this little plot of dirt out here, and maybe I can plant some things in a pot. You guys know that we had a very extensive garden and it was completely eaten by groundhogs, and it makes me really sad. So I went out there today and it was like, oh, I'm just, you know, Chris made all the borders for it and he just worked so hard. And they've eaten everything. We do have squash, we do have some peppers, tomatoes. They did not like rutabaga, they did not like turnips, but everything else, yeah, everything else was just, I mean, it was like a swarm of locusts or something that would descend and everything would be gone the next day. I have started a small border garden out front, which seems to be faring pretty well. I think I scared the squirrels off enough that they were kind of leaving it alone. Our last kit is Summer Day. All the things that you might see in a summer day. We have some coral here, we have a crab, we have fish, we have starfish, we have a little seahorse right here. This is an art trading coin blank. Have related imagery here. This is some rocks. This is a lady in a boat. This is one of my favorite things in the whole wide world, is just to look out on the ocean. What a treasure that is. Got more seaweed here. Now these are, we've got two stamped images. We've got a sandcastle. We've got a related napkin for collage. This one has an octopus on it. Not all of them will have an octopus, okay? So you'll have different things. We've got word images and we've got number images. You know, we're visiting byways. We might be visiting scenic byways. Visit soon. Visit that shore. I can't wait to get to the beach. There's really nothing like not being able to go somewhere because you're locked down, as opposed to, oh, we'll plan it and we'll go next week. Yeah, right. It's kind of sad. You know, you think about counting down for your holidays. You know, you get 10 days out, 9 days out, 8 days out. And then you're getting on that plane, or you're getting in the car and you're taking the road trip and you're stopping at favorite places. Maybe this is just a call to remember a favorite vacation that you had or that you will have. This is, it's got seashells on it, all kinds of different seashells. Another stamped piece that has, there's a sea biscuit right here, as well as sunshine and seashells, just something for you to color up and use however you want. We've got lighthouses here. We've got, I like this because it's a wood image. And more seashells here, and a happy little seagull here. Now in here we've got, I like to think that these little metallic pieces are mermaid scales. So this is what you're going to find on the beach. You might find some buttons, you might find mermaid scales, you might find some stars, some bling. You might find a little bit of buried treasure. You know, you see the people who are going down the beach and they have one of those metal detectors and they're always looking for something. So these might be the things that you find on the beach. And then you're going to have a related charm right here too. Different things. Just different things related to the ocean, and a happy seagull. So there we go, my friends. Just lots of fun things to play with in this collection of 6. I will be starting on the next collection of 6 journals tomorrow, and I should have them in the shop, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that. Maybe Tuesday. Thanks for hanging out with me, y'all. I really hope that you have fun looking through these creative cluster kits. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your kindness. Y'all have a great Independence Day. Talk to you soon.